Hello, everyone, and welcome to Automate Your Classroom with Autocrat. My name is Lashaka Wesley Hoosier, and I am part of the digital learning team, part of the new digital learning team. Anyway, I am one of the digital learning facilitators here, and I'm so excited today to share with you guys. Autocrat is one of my favorite add-ons and sheets, probably my favorite Google tool ever. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So, looking at what we're going to cover today, we're going to discuss what is Autocrat and what does it do, ways that you can use Autocrat in the classroom, and then how to make Autocrat work. So if you are watching this after the fact, go ahead and go to bit.ly/auto and then in all caps thank and fill out the Google form. I am going to go ahead and fill it out just so you guys can kind of see what that form looks like. The address for that bit.ly is case sensitive. So again, it is going to be bit.ly/auto, AUTO, and then thank in all caps. So let me go ahead and switch screens so you guys can see what I am doing. Share this tab instead. All right, so this is actually a thank you postcard that is going to go to a colleague, a peer, a teammate of yours that you are thanking. And as you can see from the Google form here, it just says, please fill out this form to send a thank you postcard to a colleague. This will be emailed to them and a copy of it will be sent to you. If you have time or you want to fill it out for more than one person, please go ahead and do that. So this is kind of what it will look like before. Right here, this, hey, person that you're thanking, thank you so much for blank, you made my day. And then once you fill in the information, it will have the person's name and then the reason you're thanking them plus your name. So my first name, as I've already told you guys, is Lashaka. Last name, I'm going to add, but it's not going to be in the information. And then I am going to thank Samantha. And then her email address is snjohnstowe@carlindiced.net. And I am going to thank her for taking my phone call and reminding me I have access to resources. Okay. And then if there's any feedback that you wanted to leave about the card, you could do that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. And once I hit submit, it's going to pop up with the traditional message that says your response has been recorded, submit another response. So while this is going on in the background, Autocrat is working within the sheet to go ahead and create that digital postcard for Samantha. And then it's going to email her and email me, which is really exciting. So let's move on and see what comes next, right? Okay, so basically here's what's happening. We filled out the form. It's going to go to the spreadsheet, and I'm going to show you guys the spreadsheet in just a second. And then the Autocrat is going to run kind of in the background, and then the email is going to be sent, and everything is going to be attached. Okay, so I just got the email. So let me go ahead and pull that up so you guys can see it. I don't know if it will let me share this with you. Okay, so let me go back to Meet. And we are going to stop presenting, and then we're going to present just a window so you can see this card. All right, so once the card has been created, here you can see it says, hey, Samantha, thank you so much for taking my phone call and reminding me I have access to resources. You made my day, Lashaka. So again, it looks just like it did on the form, and this was created automatically after I filled out the Google form. So I'll briefly show you guys the sheet and where these responses are going, and then we'll go into kind of the programming and how it got to where it is, right? So I will switch screens again. Okay, so now you guys should be able to see the form itself, or the sheet where all of the data is, right? So you can see I had Andrea test this for me on the 3rd of March, and she sent hers to Muriel, and then all of this stuff kind of on the end is what the Autocrat has created. And then you can see the one that I created for Samantha as well that I just did today at 3:49. And then as you go over, you can see it's got a link to the merged thank you card, and it pops up as thank you card for Samantha from LaShaka Wesley. That one for Marielle from Andrea is there. Okay, so this is actually super easy to set up, and everybody's going to think it is so amazing. This is a great thing to send to your students. Administrators can use this to send to teachers. You can send it to other colleagues. You can send it to your departments. IDFs can send this. Like, this is super easy, and it has so many applications. So there's, again, the little process of kind of what happened after you filled out the form. So what is Autocrat? Autocrat is basically a merge tool that is going to take data from your spreadsheet and merge it into a document. This can be a slide or a Google Doc. You can even share it as a PDF, editable, non-editable, just viewable, however you want to. You are only going to tell Autocrat which fields they need to fill in, and then it is going to merge fields via these merge tags. So I call these little Pac-Mans. I just think they look like the little Pac-Man mouse, so wonka, wonka, wonka. And then it will mass generate these personalized documents, and it will send them as email attachments, which is amazing. I have set my Autocrat to run automatically so that every time this form is filled out, this thank you card will generate and be sent. But if you don't want it to be done on a form submission, you can just do it on any spreadsheet and then run it once. Okay. Now, where do you get Autocrat? Autocrat is actually a Google Sheets add-on. So if you don't have Autocrat yet, you are going to open Google Sheets. Any sheet is fine. You're going to click extensions, then add-ons, then get add-ons, and then type in Autocrat. It's actually one of the first one that pops up. This is the image card for it. It is just this yellow background with these 3 blue arrows. Again, super easy to add, and it is one of the ones that we can add in Garland ISD. So moving on, how can you use Autocrat in the classroom? I get asked this a lot by teachers. I use Autocrat all the time. Again, as a one-to-one coach, I was using it for feedback, appointment reminders, meetings, whatever I had, even things that I sent to admin or school-wide. But teachers in the classroom, you can use this for walkthrough or evaluation feedback. So you could have your students fill out a Google form about their peers after a group project, after presentations, whatever, and then it will generate whatever you fill in and send it to the students automatically. Reminders for student presentations. So as a student is picking a day and time that they want to present to the class, because I did this, I would have group projects or presentations and I'd have my kids sign up for days. And then I'd always get asked, Miss, what day did I sign up for? Honey, I don't remember. There are so many of you guys and one of me. So if it wasn't written down, I didn't know, right? So after the students select, then you can go ahead and have it automatically email them so they always have a copy of when and what time. You can use this to write positive notes. So I just did it for a thank you card to a colleague, but you could easily fill out a Google form every time you see a student doing something positive in your class. And then if you have it set to automate on its own, the student will get that email every time you fill out a form. You can send newsletters to families that are going to pull in individualized data for each student. How fun is that, right? Especially if you are a little teacher, you can create a newsletter that is personalized, to the parents of my child. One of my children is in kindergarten, so to the parents or guardians of Emmanuel, and then it has links to his specific work, or it's got quotes from him during the week or whatever he said. I know elementary teachers seem to be super creative with how they communicate with families. Confirmation letters, again, for conferences, workshops, follow-up resources. This could be a certificate for attending a presentation. You can have this as a project proposal. I know at South Garland, we used it to set up our spec sheets, the ones you fill out for the special education students if they are failing every week. So the students or the teachers would fill out this Google form, and then it would generate a PDF of the spec sheet and send it to the case manager and a copy to the teacher, which was super nice. Holiday cards, I love everyone at South Garland, and I'm sure that they think that I take the time to send them all cards like I did for Valentine's Day, but it was basically an Autocrat. So I created a little Valentine that had my Bitmoji on it, and then I would pull in their first name and tell them how great they are for teaching blank at South, and then I sent it to all of the teachers. You can send this to students and or teachers if they're absent, tardy, missing work, if they have, a duty station that they didn't show up to, like, hey, I missed you today, or here's a list of your missing assignments, right? I've done it for Mad Libs, which is just a fun thing that the students could kind of fill in, and everybody likes reading Mad Libs because they're just kind of silly, right? Bathroom passes, this is so nice because I created a digital bathroom pass for my students because I didn't want them taking the same pass to the different bathrooms and not washing their hands. So they had to pass right on their phone. It was date and time stamped along with like my classroom number. It had a picture of my signature on it. It had the kid's name with their ID number. Like, it pulled in all of that information. So if they were ever stopped, they could pull up that image. Same thing with family contact. If you wanted to generate a page every time you talked to a student's family, why you talk to them, when you talk to them, method of contact, all of that. And this isn't even a comprehensive list. If you have an idea, try it, share it. If you've seen it used some other way, please let me know. I'm happy to hear about them. So what do you need to make this work? The first thing you're going to need is a template. You can create a template in Google Docs or Slides. Okay, so think back to that card that you sent or that I sent. I created mine in Google Slides just because I like to be able to overlay images, but you can create it in Google Docs just as easily. And you're going to use these merge tags to tell it what information to pull in. Second thing you're going to need is data. Now, you can do this from a spreadsheet that you have created manually, or you can do it from a spreadsheet that is generated from a Google form. Either way is perfect. And then the last thing, and this is just to help keep you organized, is a folder in your Google Drive. This is going to make sure that everything isn't just dropping into like your general drive. It's going into a specific place, and it's not going to stay as cluttered. So how do we set this up? Again, to get Autocrat, if you don't have it, you're just going to open a Google Sheet. You're going to click on extensions and then add-ons and then get add-ons and select Autocrat. Once it is installed, okay, first thing you're going to do when you open your sheet with that data on it is make sure that you have a header row and freeze it. If you don't know how to freeze rows, you're going to go to View, Freeze, One Row. That's going to give you that header row that's normally where you type in, name, date, ID number, that kind of stuff. And it will make this so much easier. When you launch Autocrat, after you have it installed, you're just going to go back to that extensions menu, scroll down to Autocrat, and then click Launch. You can run multiple Autocrats on a single set of data. So if you have already created one on that spreadsheet, Launch will say Open, but if you've never made one before, then it will say Launch. So you're going to click New Job, and these are screenshots from Autocrat creating a brand new one. So you should see what I see, basically. So click New Job. Then you are going to name your job. Again, if you're running multiple Autocrats on the same sheet, you just want to make sure that you have some type of identifying information. If you only are going to run a single Autocrat on the sheet, it honestly doesn't matter what you name it, just make sure it has a name. And click Next. Now, here's where you're going to choose your template. Now, your template is something that you have already created, okay? You're going to pull it from your Google Drive. So all you do is click From Drive, and then it's going to pull in all of your Google Drive items. So you can see here, based on the other templates that I had at South Garland, we used Google Forms for our SEL lessons. So each SEL lesson that we did had a little template. The kids would fill in their information, and then a teacher, their third period teacher, would get a copy of their answers so that we could kind of monitor our students. And then you can see my V-Day card 22 template is also there. If it is a template that you have used recently, you can just click Use from the short menu. If not, just click From Drive and then select the item that you want to use. So once you have selected the item, Autocrat is going to think for a little bit and it's going to say matching or mapping tags to the appropriate location. So all that's doing is taking the column of information that you have and mashing it into those merge tags so that it's pulling the correct information to the correct spot on your template. So you can see here, I have a couple of different options for tags. There are standard options, there are hyperlinks, there are images, and then it's going to make you pick, if you have multiple tabs on your spreadsheet, which tab you want it to merge to. So here you can see I have one unmapped tag. So what that means is on the January planning calendar, it didn't find a column called first name. Now, I might have just done F name, I might have just done name. However, if it doesn't automatically map, you can click on these little up down arrows and map it manually. No fuss, it's super easy. Again, there are different options. You have standard, hyperlink, image, or checkbox. I personally have never tried the checkbox, but I have done both image and hyperlink. It works beautifully when it works. If you set it up correctly, it's perfect. Standard is just going to pull in regular text. So once you are done mapping all of your tags, now I have had Autocrats with like 20 tags. I've had some with 2. It doesn't matter the number of tags, you just need to make sure that they all are pulling some kind of information. You are going to set a file name. Now, the fun thing about this is if you click on this blue arrow, any data that you have on your spreadsheet can be used to name your file. So if you remember at the beginning, when I showed you how Samantha's thank you card was named, it actually said Samantha thank you card from LaShaka, right? And that was because within these blue tabs, I was able to pull any information on my spreadsheet. So if you want to filter it or save it by someone's last name, a student's ID number, the date, however you want to do it, totally fine. You're just going to click that and then paste it in there, and it tells you just copy and paste it. And then you have to choose how you want it to be created. Now, if I'm doing it as a Google slide or a Google Doc, I traditionally create it as a slide or a doc because it's going to take less time. However, if this is something you're sharing with students, families, that kind of thing, a PDF would be best. That way they can't make any edits to it, but it is going to take longer if you have a large data set. Okay, so you're going to choose your destination folder. It can be a subfolder if you need it to be. Again, that subfolder or folder is super important because we don't want to clutter your drive. 6 and 7 are for more advanced Autocrats. So you're just going to click next on both screens, next, and ignore those. You don't have to put anything in there. Again, those are for more advanced Autocrats. If you're doing a basic Autocrat, skip those. Okay, step 8, you have the option to decide if you're going to share it or not. Now, I normally share it as an email, but if you just want it to create things that you then print or send out yourself, that is fine. Just click no sharing, right? Share doc, no. Now, I normally share it, and it's going to give you a couple of options. If you set it as a PDF, it's only going to give you the PDF option. If you do it as a doc or a slide, it's going to give you a couple of options. You can send it as an editable one, view only, comment only, or anyone with a link can view or anyone with a link can edit. Now, here's the fun part. When you send it as an email, you can actually do 2, and these can be used with merge tags. So it can go to a different person every time. So in this blue menu, if I had email as one of my things, and you saw on the form that I filled out at the beginning, I had the person I was thanking. I had their email, and I set my form to collect emails. So it's going to send to both places. It's going to send to the email that I typed in for Samantha, and it's going to send to my email because that's what the form was collecting. And then you can pre-type in a message, but you need to remember that that message that you pre-type is going to go to everybody. It will allow you to put merge tags in there. So if I wanted to say, hey, merge tag, right? Then it comes up as, hey, Samantha, hey, Muriel, hey, LaShaka. It will personalize that, but it's going to say, hey, whoever, every single time. And then whatever message I send, again, you can include merge tags. You know, here is the lesson for your presentation on whatever they chose, right? But the same general message is going to go out every time. Now, the final step is making sure that you either have a job trigger or not. So if you want it to be filled out every single time someone fills out a form, you're just going to click yes, run on form trigger. That means every time someone fills out a Google form, it's going to do the Autocrat. The other option you have is a time trigger. So if you don't want to send emails individually, but maybe you want to send them all at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you can click yes to the time trigger, and then it will give you like every 12 hours, every 24 hours, and then you can pick when it's going to run and create those for you. The other option is no triggers, and then when you are ready to run it, you just click the play button basically, and it will run everything on the spreadsheet all at the same time. Autocrat runs up to 100 rows of data at a time. So once it runs that first 100 rows, then you would have to go in and hit play again for it to run the second 100 rows. So just be aware of that if you have a large data set. So you're going to click save. And then if you ever need to go back and make any edits, it'll be a lot faster. Okay, now the slides for this you can access at bit.ly/autothank-slides. If you have any Autocrat questions that you want to ask in the future, by all means, please, please, please just email me. I am happy to help. If you have an idea on how to use Autocrat, we can totally make it work. That's about it. So if you registered in Eduphoria, make sure you go back and fill out that survey so you can get your CPE credit. Again, my name is Lashaka Wesley Hosier. If you need anything in regards to Autocrat, please, please, please reach out. You can email Digital Learning or you can email me, and I will be happy to chat with you. Thanks for attending and have a great day.